Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the 23rd of March. Cheers. Just saying hello. Really, nothing new on my plate to share. I just realized that a lot of folks like to, it's part of your routine, Monday through Friday in particular. I know a lot of you folks want to see an entry. So I'm saying hello. No new records to show. I got a hold of homers regarding this. Space, Energy, and Light. I played it again. It's I can't imagine that a mastering company would allow a record like this to go out. It must be something to do with when it got stamped, because it's got noise. And I went ahead and downloaded. It's got the download code to double check. Even though I can obviously hear that it's surface. It's like there's surface noise. So I'll be returning. They said they would order me another one because they only got one in. And the price on this in the store was ridiculous. That is one thing that's unfortunate about some retail, is the prices. Because I looked this up online, rather I saw on Discogs when I posted this in my Discogs. I see where I could have gotten a copy of this for a third of what I paid for it. The stores justify the way that they rack up their prices, and they have their overhead and all that mess, I understand, but still. Anyway. As I said, I took yesterday off from mixing and editing. And at this point, I'm still feeling pretty relaxed, so I don't know that I'll work anymore today. I might. Right now, I'm just feeling relaxed and feeling good about just. That was something that came up in the conversation with W. Looking forward to his podcast, or whatever you want to call it, on Sunday. He brought up the idea of the difference between happiness and joy. How we're always hearing parents talk so much about how they want their children to be happy. And is happiness and joy the same thing, and I don't think they really are. They're related, but you can have experiences of joy that are unrelated to being happy. Just could be momentary. But I guess what I'm sharing is that I'm experiencing both. A general sense of happiness with my perspective on the world, which is it's a very unbalanced, unwell world. And I'm managing it as best as I can, which means I have more good days than bad. And on top of that, because of my focus in life, I do experience joy almost every day. I have those blue moments, I have those depressive moments. It's part of life. But as I keep saying, I use the word perspective. It's important, in art, very important. In learning art, perspective is extremely important. And when you can take that concept and overlay it on life, it really opens your eyes. So I like to share these thoughts because I do know that some of you other folks do. It's helpful, to get a reminder that you're in charge of your purview. You're not in charge of all the things that happen to you, but you're in charge of how you respond to them and how you react to them. And so make the best of it. Make the best of it. Okay, so I'm looking at records and I'm thinking, oh, come on, show them something, Dereck. Show something. So This is a spine that is real, you can see it real easy, Uncle. And I remember when I bought this album, I didn't buy it right away. There was hype about it. And when I got the album, I was disappointed. They hyped it too much. It's not as good. It's got moments. The Tom York Rabbit in Your Headlights is the high point of the album for me. It's the song where it all comes together. There's beats on here, and there's ideas, and there's interludes, but it never gels to my ears. But it's a keeper. But at the same time, it put me off of buying anything else by Uncle. Although I would imagine that this person who calls himself Uncle has probably improved since then. Probably. Here's one to talk about. There's a personal connection. And let me see if any of you folks know this band. And I see that I need to get a plastic for it. The Unknown's Dream Sequence. This came out in 1981. Kind of a retro band, as you can see, in the 80s. Back then, this was about that time when you were having bands like the 3 O'Clock and other bands that were kind of going back to the 60s sound. And that's what these guys were doing. The lead guy is Bruce Joyner, who I think has a gimpy leg or something. Do you... Bruce Joyner. What else has he done since then? Because that name... all these names. Dave Doyle, Mark Neal. The drummer, there in the striped shirt, that's a friend of mine. Well, he's the older brother of a good friend of mine, Bob Bedrowski. That's Steve Bedrowski on drums there, and he signed it for me years ago when I got it. This is a good album. I haven't played it in a long time, but a little more trivia for you. You remember the punk rock movie Suburbia? TSOL is in the band. I forget who else is in the band. There's a scene in the movie, I hope I describe it right, where they're going to be playing at either a sock hop or in some kind of gymnasium. And there's like either it's a maintenance guy or somebody to do with the school or the gym that the kids have to interact with. That's Bob in the movie. I mean Steve Bedrowski. That's my friend Steve in the movie. So there you go. There's a pull for you with a little bit of trivia. Bob and I are still friends. Bob lives in Lincoln. Bob's an interesting cat. He's one of the friends that go back to high school where we bonded in a group and we stayed tight, but we really have very little in common. Bob is a huge Husker fan and sports nut, and I really basically hate organized sports. You know, I really do. No interest at all. But he and I are, to this day, very, very good friends. Okay, shoot, that kind of went better than I thought. See, that's, in talking to Jonas, if you watch this, don't wait months to upload that. Let people see that. The sell-by date of the information in the video is going to be old by then. Let people see it. It's revelatory, actually. It's, our conversation, I think, will be enlightening to some people who are interested in me and what I do. But that was a delightful conversation with Jonas. It really was. I forget if there was a point I wanted to make. No, we've seen those. I'm actually not doing a blind poll. I'm actually looking right now to see what do I have that might be fun. Well, here's one. T-Square. Probably 80s. Yep, 1987. Looks like it's a Japanese band. Fusion. Better than Hiroshima. I don't like Hiroshima. Hiroshima was too commercial. They got big in the 80s, and people kept saying to me, Dereck, you really dig Hiroshima. No, I don't. I remember I went ahead I went as far enough to buy a Hiroshima album saying, I really like what some of the Japanese do with music. So really, let me give this a chance. It was way too commercial. Just nothing to sink my teeth into. This is in that same school, but better. More muso. This is definitely more oriented for musicians. There's good playing in here. I'm trying to see right quick if there's some names. Takeshi Ito on sax, yeah. He actually ended up with he had a solo thing that was being shown on VH1 New Visions back in the 80s, late 80s. So I haven't played this for a while, but this is satisfying. I like this. I see another Japanese record right next to it. Interesting how that ends up with things being alphabetized. Masami Tsuchiya, I talked about this album with Percy Jones, formerly of Brand X. Masami Tsuchiya had the band Ippudu, toured with the band Japan. Interesting man, very much into a look as well as a sound. He's a good player. And this is a very good album. Sakamoto is on here. Richard Barbieri is on here. Is he on here? No. Mick Karn is, and Bill Nelson. And those guys, see, he works with those guys. This is really good. I just love this sound. Rice music. And the next record to that is this reissue of this band. It's not Psych. Truck. American rock is what I would call it. This is pretty damn good, though. Produced by Dewey Martin. Dewey Martin and Medicine Ball. That's what I can say. I know that name was Dewey Martin in Buffalo Springfield, possibly? Possibly. So there's a slight countryness to this album, but it's a good band. That's what I have to say. Sometimes when groups of people get together, things happen, and the sum is greater than the parts. That's an example of it. I'm not big into country, but when things come together in a certain way, it's real enjoyable to listen to. And that's what happens on Truck. So there's some music for you. And I'm going to leave it at that, people. Okay? I'll talk to you soon. Stay in touch. As always, I love my family. Hello, folks. Take care.